Hello and welcome to Channel 5 THE News. I'm your host, Bart Skort. We come to you today with a breaking report.
Everything's broken!
Thank you. That was our breaking report. Today in the news, it's almost the end of sight for polio, but how has this been recent in Afghanistan? Why is this 0.1% still nowhere near in sight? All of this and more in life only on the Channel 5 News. That's a Bo Burnham reference. 18, there were 21 polio cases in Afghanistan, which makes it the highest ranking country to have it. There were 12 cases in Pakistan and 0 in Nigeria. But it's important to note that those cases were mostly limited to like small areas like towns and stuff like that. That's great, but the question still remains, why can't we get it to 100%? Well, that's because of people who won't get vaccinated. Now, what are you doing, Kat? What are you doing? Why are you running?
Why are you running?
And that's great, but why can't we still get to that 100% if we're so close? Well, it's mainly because of the people who won't get vaccinated. Now, when you hear people who won't get vaccinated, you tend to think of the people who work at LuLaRoe and like are soccer moms and probably like tries to speak to your manager, Karen! Yes, those are big percentages of it, but that's mostly in North America, while we're talking about Afghanistan. And there are reasons why over there that actually makes sense instead of you heard this one thing on Facebook. So when you're in Afghanistan and you live there and you're really poor, you don't have enough money to afford a vaccine. And even if you were barely passing but you could afford a vaccine, it wouldn't really seem necessary to have a vaccine instead of buying extra food or finding shelter, instead of spending some of your money to get, a vaccine. And then there's also obvious ones who don't vaccinate because of their religion or they have an allergy to something in the vaccine, and that's why we need herd immunity. And then finally, there's the border. Now that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, but people in the eastern region, they share a border with Pakistan, and there's some tight border control, so there's constantly nomadic people who keep going from place to place, and it's hard to track them down, much less get them to get a vaccine, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer, and I kind of feel like it would be unpopular if you made a joke about them. However, we can still make fun of you, Karen! We'll be right back.
I feel good all under. Know why I feel good all under? My Hanes underwear fits all under. Look, reinforced neck, double seams, and a waistband that doesn't dig in. What comfort. And the Hanes price makes my wallet feel good, too. Boy, do I feel good all under.
Hanes makes you feel good all under.
Good morning.
Now, 20% off on Hanes' best-selling men's and boys styles.
We're back! So, we've gone over why people in Afghanistan are not getting vaccinated, but what necessarily is being done to treat that and get them to get vaccinated? Well, a good bit of stuff, so let's also talk about that. Here's what the United States International Child Emergency Fund, or UNICEF, had to say. To reach children on the move between Afghanistan and Pakistan, we have improved cross-border coordination with Pakistan to facilitate vaccination of moving populations between the two countries. We are tracking and mapping population movements and establishing supplementary vaccination posts at key gathering sites and border crossings. The 15 cross-border teams are immunizing more than 100,000 children every month. Good for you! Secondly, for those families who are deprived of basic services and therefore do not see the immediate need for immunization, UNICEF coordinates with other services related to health, water, sanitation, nutrition, and education to go along with immunization services to increase the family's demand. How am I supposed to get any dang sleep when you're upstairs playing Wii Sports? Oh, sorry, that's not important. That's just a message from my mom. The program also also works with influential people in the community, such as religious leaders or celebrities who are trusted and can mobilize/convince people. Refusal oversight committees have been formulated at a national and provincial level to systematically guide, monitor, and track the reduction of refusals. Though that is big boy words, so we are going to dumb it down a little bit. Basically what that means is other big corporations, I don't want to say corporations, but stuff like that, they are basically tracking like who's accepting vaccines, who's denying vaccines, to make sure that there aren't as many refusals. In fact, they want them to be like very little refusals to make sure that immunization is here and we can finally get that 100%. So in conclusion, vaccines in Afghanistan are becoming more and more frequent, causing the opposite to be said about the viruses. And yes, it'll likely never get to 100% because of those who are like herd immunity or religious or people like you, Karen! But that really doesn't matter. You see, what does matter... My iPad just shut off. But that really doesn't matter because everyone's immune system will eventually get stronger and stronger, and they'll evolve to be really like against polio. Their bodies will be against polio. But that is hundreds of thousands of years away. So right now, here's my advice. Get vaccinated, protect those against herd immunity, and don't be a Karen. I'm Bort Skort saying good night.